balance things out. So, how are you guys doing?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, good. Busy breaks, or did you guys get some downtime over the holiday?
A little bit of both.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
I was gone for most of it.
Yeah.
might be hearing from the microphone. Okay, can you hear me here?
Yep, I got you.
Excellent. We can hear you also. You should be all set.
Thank
If
you.
you need anything, just let me know.
10-4, thank you.
I am dropping the audio for a few minutes till we're starting, though. So
Sounds good.
it'll go
Good.
silent for a few minutes.
Thank you. Thanks, Chris. Bye.
We have a quorum, so we should get started on time. Yeah, but yeah, we should start. That is our thing, is we're starting on time.
Yep. Let me log in.
Oh, I didn't log in before? Yes, I did. Sorry.
Pretty upside down on me over there. That's not good.
For these Chrome, I think just today I was looking for them.
January 7th. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. It's almost like the middle of January already.
Yet we've had like 3 school days since
I
we
know,
last
I know.
met. That's what it feels like.
Yeah,
My
but
re-
days like you haven't been to one of those, one of these board meetings
Right.
in a long time.
Who
It
said
feels like
that?
it, Jose.
Oh.
It feels like you haven't been to one of these in a long time.
You're like looking at me.
Hey, there they are.
All right.
The party could officially begin.
Yep. Yep.
What's the middle school play? Junior. Is it noises? Noises?
Actually, no, I don't know.
Hello, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I'm gonna like, why don't you sit down when I start? Okay, you can take your coat off.
Where did you go? Where are you going?
Oh, I had a client meeting with them, so I went back to the kitchen. Yes.
Okay, we ready?
No, but yes.
No, but yes? Okay, that's good enough. Are you ready? We can get going.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Board of Education meeting of January 7th, 2025. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so Happy New Year. I hope everyone had a happy holiday and a restful break. Please note that Trustee Treves is joining us remotely this evening. Hi, Will. and he continues to recover from surgery. I'm glad to report he's doing well. I wish him continued recovery. I'm sure we'll see him back in person, maybe our next board meeting. If you're available this Friday evening, please join us for the Battle of the Bands in the high school auditorium at 7 p.m. We did not have an executive session this evening, and we have a fairly straightforward agenda. A few notable business items. I'd like to welcome back our student board members, Emerson and Nick. I hope you both had a nice break, and we look forward to your updates this evening. Next, item 6.4 on the agenda, we're pleased to share that the State of New York grant for the outdoor classroom at Prospect Hill Elementary School has arrived, I guess. The grant totals $150,000, and we thank everyone involved in advancing this project, including Assemblywoman Amy Paulin. We also have 13 policies on the agenda this evening, continuing our steady progress on policy updates. Thank you to Trustee Burke and the entire policy committee, including the cabinet, Dr. Champ, and Trustee Garcia, for keeping this important work moving forward. 6 policies are presented for first reading and relate to students with disabilities, and 7 are up for second reading. I'd like to briefly highlight item 7.7, policy 1510. Since our last meeting, we made some substantive revisions to the public comment section to better reflect the board's philosophy of keeping public comment as accessible and minimally managed as possible, while still allowing the board president to manage time and decorum when necessary. And that's all I'd like to highlight now. We can move to section 3, which is the approval of the minute, or section 2, approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion to take 2.1 to 2.3 as a consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, this is the meeting minute, to approve the meeting minutes from November 5th, November 19th, and December 10th. Any comments or questions on the minutes? No? All in favor? Aye. None opposed, so those minutes are approved. And now I'll hand it to Dr. Champ.
Great, thank you, and Happy New Year from me as well. I hope everyone had a restful break. I know 2 weeks is kind of a luxury, but I think research says 2 weeks is what it takes to really decompress and disconnect from work. So very much appreciated that, and hope everyone else did and had a healthy and happy holiday season. We're excited to be back. I will say the concerts before the holidays really put everyone in the festive spirit. They were outstanding. So congratulations to all of our music department and all of our music students for the continued excellence that they demonstrate in those concerts. It definitely is something that the whole school community shares too, and one of the most fun things is being on this campus that last day before break, because they do concerts for all the students and get to share that skill and spirit with them. So congrats to them for that. We are back, and we are excited for the second half of the year. This is the part of the year that goes by even faster than the first part did. So with the spring coming up, certainly we've got midterms coming up at the end of this month. Dr. Comerford is going to talk about, I think, a little bit about our Tri-States visit coming up, which is another thing that's been a tremendous amount of preparation for. So thank you to the administrators and faculty members who participated in that. We look forward to putting our best foot forward with our coalition of partnership high-performing schools. It's also the start of the budget season. So we have started this week in earnest with budget meetings, where we go line by line internally through buildings, departments. Really, it's a great chance to ask those critical friend questions behind the scenes, and for us to really get a deep understanding of what's going on where and prioritize. As we've talked about, we know it's going to be a challenging budget year, but we're keeping the board's guidance in mind as we do that, and we'll work to make sure that our priorities and strategic plan are the drivers in our decision making as we go forward. And we look forward to keeping the board up to date on that development process, and expect to launch the budget. The board meeting after February break will be the overview presentation, so you can look forward to that. Just some reminders about where we are with construction. Not much has happened since the break, since we were gone. But for anyone who, just a quick updates, we're expecting, and Jim may be touching on some of this as well in his report, Our plan was to submit the plans for Prospect Hill and Colonial renovations to State Education Department this month, to get those in for approvals with the goal of getting to bidding and starting the work this summer. And that's predominantly the renovation work, so HVAC work, changing over from current heating systems to new heating systems, beginning work for the installation of the air conditioning and some roofing and masonry in select areas. So that is in progress. Jim will give us a little bit more of an update there. Also, Siwanoy plans continue in development. We had a really great community meeting right before the break. We had a nice group of neighbors came out and continue to give us some great feedback, and just appreciate the responsiveness that our construction team has shown to the feedback from the community, the internal school community, as well as the external neighborhood community. One thing that we will continue to reiterate, and I know Jim represented us at a meeting just this week already with Village of Pelham Manor. We have been and continue to be committed to keeping them as a collaborative, informed partner. So we had a meeting, the engineering team, the architects, the district, and Village of Pelham Manor. And again, I'm sure Jim will give us a little bit more color on that too. We just want to make folks aware that we are continuing that partnership. Certainly, we have agreed, we've made it a priority to keep them informed on things, especially when there are kind of major steps coming up. One thing that surprised us all on Monday morning, including Jim, who got to, sorry, I'm just teeing you up all these softballs for your report. Jim got called first thing on Monday morning because a drill truck unexpectedly showed up on Siwanoy Place. They had not announced it to us. Nobody had told us they were coming. They showed up, and Jim had to promptly go and say, thanks, but no thanks. You were not planned to come. You are not doing the work today. It's the first day back to school. So he sent them on their way, and we'll get that work rescheduled. But it's a good example of the kind of thing. If there's going to be drilling, if there's going to be work that's going to be disruptive to the neighborhood, we've made it clear to our construction partners that we want to be proactive with communication. So,
Do we know why that happened? Like, so that it doesn't happen again?
We had a follow-up with the architectural and construction management team later in the day.
Yeah.
Kind of renewed our level of expectations and our promises to the community and the community's expectations.
Yeah.
So we've got that cleared up. It was a lack of communication.
Yeah, and then I think you said we keep in touch with the Village of Pelham Manor, and also the neighborhood can expect to be
Right.
made aware, right?
Right, and
Yeah.
this was specifically an example of the kind of thing that we wanted to know in advance when they were coming so that we could notify the neighbors.
Exactly.
So the lack of communication,
Okay.
not on our part, the
Right.
lack of communication between the construction professionals was the
And us.
problem.
Yep.
Right,
Okay.
so.
Thank you.
Yeah. But things are moving, so, we're gonna do our best. There's lots of, anyone who's renovated their house knows that there are unexpected things that happen, and
Yes.
we work to mitigate them and manage them as best we can. Also this week, we have coming up on Friday, you may remember last year, and as part of our strategic plan, we have worked to put together a parent education, We Are Pelham Parent Education Series. We have the first session coming up. It's really currently targeted elementary. So we have a session on Friday morning, 10 o'clock, in the Prospect Hill Auditorium. Tracy helped to facilitate bringing in a presenter to talk about managing anxiety for a child. So he's one of the professionals that we work with through one of our contracted professional services. So we're looking forward to that. I believe it is being recorded for anyone who can't make it. We figured a Friday morning, maybe with a lot of folks still working from home, could be accessible. So we're looking forward to that. And we'll be, as we finalize additional plans, those will be coming out. Also on this past week, sorry, Dr. Fitzgerald, if I'm stepping on your toes, you can fill in more blanks on this as well, but we did launch the posting for the Siwanoy principal. So we have officially begun the search for the next Siwanoy principal. Our goal is to have someone in place to begin July 1st. So the posting went out. It goes out a variety of places, but most importantly, olasjobs.org. That is the primary education site for applying for jobs in education in New York State. So I know I myself have also put it out to my listserv of superintendents for the Lower Hudson Council, which is like almost 80 districts in the region. immediately got back a couple responses from people recommending, like personal recommendations for people that they think will be outstanding candidates. So I think this is a great time to be starting, and I know, each of us have our own professional network, so we're going to all be reaching out to try to get the best pool of candidates and really do a thorough search.
I think it's worthwhile reiterating what you just said. The reason why you're doing it at this time is because it is a good time, right,
Yep.
to get a great candidate pool.
Exactly. Yep.
Yep.
It's the best time to start the work. And then tonight on the agenda, you see the board is again continuing to be very active in policy work. So thanks to their fearless leader on that committee. One of the things I did want to note, tonight, the first reading policies really, you probably picked up a theme for most of them, and that is special education. So as we're going through our audit, we had identified there's a lot of policies that haven't really been touched in a very long time. Most of these policies are really embedded in regulation, so they haven't needed to be touched a lot. But the thing that really kind of caused us to take a look in this area, and then our legal counsel kind of said, if you're going to do one, you might as well do all of them together to really coordinate those updates, is the change in practice that students can now remain in school until the day before their 22nd birthday. So there was a big change in practice for districts around the state. So we wanted to catch up the policy language with that new regulation. So that's really why they're there. Really no reason other than that. They hadn't been touched in many cases since 2012. So we're going on almost 15 years. So it was a perfect time to bring those forward. So, and I know that Sid will be talking more about that. Finally, this is a little bit of a discussion item. This is not up for adoption tonight, but I wanted to start the conversation. On your desks, you should have a sample of the draft of the calendar for the 26-27 school year. I don't know if we had ones for our students, but you're certainly welcome to take a look at those. So what I'm proposing is largely in line with the BOCES calendar. Each district, a lot of districts will share their calendars so you get ideas. Each district has its own nuances of how many days teachers are required to work, where and when parent-teacher conferences may fall, half days, et cetera. So for us, largely, this is actually, I found to be a relatively simple calendar to construct because mostly it's driven by holidays, start dates and end dates, and not a lot of flexibility in between, except where things like February break and spring break fall. So again, I followed suit predominantly with BOCES because we do have high school students who attend classes at BOCES. We have special education students attend BOCES, and our busing partnership is a BOCES BEPT consortium. So it makes sense to align with BOCES. The one area that is still up for this is preliminary, so I want to be clear that I'm trying not to get the cart in front of the horse on this. Our teachers' contract, in order for teachers to come back before Labor Day, they have to vote to agree to do so. So we're in those conversations. That vote has not yet occurred, so this is not a done deal. But in discussions, again, I'm suggesting, recommending, and hoping that we can come to agreement around bringing teachers back on the Wednesday and Thursday before Labor Day, which would then enable us to start students right on Tuesday after Labor Day. It's a very late Labor Day this year, yet at the same time, it's kind of nice that we're not backed up into starting in August like we were these past couple of years. We are going to need as much summer as possible for our construction projects. So being able to push that start for staff to September would be incredibly helpful. The other end of the school year, right now, where I'm proposing graduation on the 26th. The last couple of years, we've pushed it up a week ahead, but again, the way the calendar falls, that would be really, really early as far as proximity to the end of classes. It also would be Juneteenth, which is a holiday, which could be problematic for some families. So right now, that's where we stand. This is, again, kind of opening it up for feedback from the board. Once the teachers resolve their position on whether we're going to be able to start before Labor Day for teachers, then my plan would be to send this out to community parents for some feedback, take whatever feedback we're able to into account, make some final adjustments, and bring it back to the board to consider for adoption. You will note also, there are some half-days on here. These are the ones that are required by either, kind of the standard ones. The day before Thanksgiving, the ones that we need to accommodate parent-teacher conferences. One at the beginning of the year that is a contractual half-day, and then the last 3 days in June, if we need those, because we had a lot of snow days, those would also be half-days for students. What's not in there yet are the PLC, or late start, early dismissal days. So we want to get the framework of that in, and then work with the curriculum team to identify the dates that would be most suited for those. We're also hoping to get some feedback as we finish out this year. We did some of the we're going to have 2 late arrival days coming up, February and April. We've done the early releases the last couple of years like normal. So once we've done a couple, our hope is to get some feedback and then make final decisions about how we're going to structure those. So any initial questions?
I'm sure I'll have questions. I just
Oh,
wanna
sure.
sit
I know
with
it's the
the-
first time seeing it,
Yeah,
so yeah.
sit with it for a little bit.
Sure.
Do we have copies for?
For the students?
Yeah. Do we have copies for Nicholas and Emerson?
Yes, I can give mine up.
I
for-
can give mine. I mean, I'm happy
Okay.
to give mine, and then
Okay,
I'll just
and
ask Val
yeah.
for more. Yeah.
Okay, yep, let's
Because
do that.
You guys will have opinions on it
Okay,
too. but-
thank you, Jim.
So there's no.
Are there any new,
Oh, that's a good point. Nick doesn't need one.
Oh yeah, you don't.
I know. I almost said that myself because my daughter's graduating,
Yeah.
so I was like, well.
Not as relevant, but
Do you,
kidding. Of
Dr.
course it's
Cham, do
still
you
relevant.
foresee any pushback on the late graduation?
yeah, I think that's going to be tricky. And I'm sure we'll have some conversation about it. It's kind of like, it feels normal late, if that makes any kind of sense. The last few years with all the added holidays, that's part of what has pushed things very late.
Yeah.
The 26th doesn't feel out of the norm for, if you go back 5 years ago, 10
Yeah,
years
yeah, yeah.
ago. 26, it
Yeah.
would have been late then, but it would have been within the realm of normal.
Yeah, I got you.
So, but yeah, that's, again, still up for a little bit of debate there.
Yeah.
Is it the same holidays? Are there additional holidays or any taken, like, we've
Yeah,
kept?
some of them fell on the weekends.
Okay.
So that's some of the
Like
difference.
Rosh
So,
Hashanah?
yeah, so like October, pretty much, we've got, Yom Kippur is September 21st, but Rosh Hashanah fell on the weekend this year.
Okay, so they have Monday.
Diwali fell on the weekend. Lunar New Year, I forget where that is. I think it's
The
January.
6th of, it looks like the 6th of February?
Yeah.
It fell on a weekend also.
Yep,
Yeah.
also on a
Yeah.
weekend.
The reason for going so late, still reaching the end of June, is because Labor Day is so late, so that
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
is like a
That's
week
exactly it.
behind.
Yep. And Regents Rating Day is June
Right.
25th.
Yeah.
And the whole Regents exam schedule is backed up from there. So,
And
Yeah.
regarding graduation, I mean, I know some people wouldn't mind, but I do want to just be conscious that it is Juneteenth on
right.
the Saturday before. So it's, just want to be respectful.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
something to know, because I know people will be kind of upset that it's going so long into June, almost July. But unfortunately, that's the way the holidays fall.
Right. Right.
Would the graduation be possible on a Sunday? Or,
That's a good question.
because for
We've never
senior-
done it that way
yeah,
before.
because just for
But
seniors,
that doesn't mean.
we
Yeah.
end, you always have the last day of school and then you have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, this is great
That's
insight.
great.
I'm
He
with
tells
you.
us all the same thing.
Sorry. Because just for seniors, I know we end kind of middle of the month. That's when the school
Right.
classes actually end. And then our freshmen, sophomore, juniors have finals, which makes sense, like up until the 22nd.
Right.
That's just kind of for seniors, especially if we have almost 2 weeks off and then graduation.
Yeah,
That's a little not
Right.
awkward. It's just kind of
yeah.
I don't know how to
Like,
explain
dim the
it.
excitement.
Yeah, a little. I
Yeah.
think a little
Do
bit.
you know, and I didn't have a chance to ask Mr. Lund, do you remember what the date of the prom?
It's gonna be it's probably gonna be sometime between the 14th and 24th. I'm guessing.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, for sure.
I don't
Yeah,
know
so
exactly.
we'll
Usually it's
continue
like
to look at that. I think
Okay.
that's really helpful feedback.
Prom last year was on a Tuesday.
Prom is always during
Yeah,
the
they,
week.
Yeah,
yeah,
there
they
was,
did it.
last year was
Yeah,
there was
it's
some,
during the
I
week.
remember there was a lot of venue issues last year that resulted
We're
in a
gonna start looking in like a
random
few weeks
Tuesday.
too. Student
Yeah.
government is.
Okay. All right, so then, as plans develop, that will all be helpful in helping us to nail down and considering all the different issues that could be around that final date. So usually what we do is we rent the tent. Since the pandemic, we've rented the tent and we've done all of the moving up ceremonies, 8th grade. So we have the tent for quite a while, which could enable a different approach,
So
different
yeah, I
day.
just wasn't sure because it is a little late into the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good perspective, thank you. All right, we'll take that back and we'll do some more work.
One other thing I noticed
Yes.
is I think this year and last year we had that sort of full 2 weeks between, in December.
Yes.
And in this new version it's like 7 days, which I'm not saying that's good or bad, but I've just noticed that that's a difference.
Yeah, that is a big difference. And again, some years, and my recollection has been, some years it's like this, where it's 7-8 days, other years it's 2 weeks. There's not, as I looked at it, I don't think there's a lot of play, like there's not a lot of flexibility in there to, actually, no, there are some districts that are bringing students back before Labor Day in order, I believe, to get the 2 weeks at the holidays again. I thought that might be a big ask for our community and something that folks generally would not be terribly interested in, because that would mean starting school, probably teachers on August 31st and September 1st, students 2nd, 3rd, 4th before Labor Day.
Speaking as a parent of young kids, camps end the second week of August.
Right.
So that's almost a month that parents will, I mean, I know that like the last 2 weeks of August, that's typically where everyone goes on
Vacations.
vacation and stuff, but then you all come back in September, like September 1st, waiting to start school, and then you'll have 7 days, one full week where there's like where childcare will be like an issue. So I don't know if the community would hate coming back to school on the 2nd. Like unless historically speaking, that has been something.
I've never seen it done here, and I don't remember personally in another district bringing students back that early. That also would have ramifications for the teachers'
Right.
decision on that kind of a start as well.
Right.
Coming
Well,
back for 2 days of
that's the
professional
other
development
side.
is one thing.
Right.
Coming back for a full week of school.
Well, that's the other side of the coin, right? There's the parents, and then there's the teachers and their
That's it.
contracts.
And
all
I had
that.
I had some parents that were not happy about our 2-week break this week because their kids were away from school for such a long time.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the fun of the calendar.
Yeah.
There's so many different perspectives on it. It's hard to.
I
certainly
mean,
not
I
gonna
like that we're
please
changing
everyone.
up. We'll have a 2-week vacation this year, and we'll have a week and a half next year, and like we'll see, you know, like
Yeah, I think,
there's people who don't like the 2 weeks, and then there's people who love it. So
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yep.
yeah, and I think it would be good, just
Variety.
as we sort of finalize it, is to just get some perspectives, to your point, like, right, for the younger kids, for other families, maybe they go away and they want to stretch it as long as possible. And so I think there's probably
Yeah, it's gonna
multiple
put-
perspectives, and
right.
I think maybe this decision will weigh this, like the value of
Absolutely.
the teachers, then maybe there's another decision down at the end of the year, with the graduation, that we might say, all right, we'll move it around. So I think just understanding the different groups and what would be a problem or what they would prefer might just help make those final, like those
Absolutely.
final calls.
Yeah, and
So-
my plan was to put out a kind of an open-ended survey.
Yeah, I think
Similar to what we
that's the
did
way to
last year,
go.
select your demographic group
Yeah.
and then open-ended feedback.
Yeah, no, I think it's good. Emerson, I think your suggestion is really interesting around the Sunday. The one question that I would have, if that's like, I do think there should be like a plan, like what would be an alternative, like just finding one. With Juneteenth being a holiday, is there any like major problems just being off the day before? Do like, I know planning an event or doing something, it's like, if you lose the whole day leading up to it, does it matter? Are we just, it's a
we have to.
turnkey at this point, or,
Yeah,
do like,
it's-
it's more around, is that a problem? Do you see it being like problematic
For planning the.
for planning?
Yeah.
If you wanted to do it that weekend.
to do it that Sunday to lose the whole Saturday,
it's
like leading into it.
We don't have a choice as far as school is concerned. It's that's one of the state required holidays for us.
No, I'm
on
fine
Friday.
with I think the
Right.
holiday's a must. I think it was more around event planning,
Right, can you
like
plan
on a
a
Sunday,
graduation
is there
the day
any
before?
big issues? Yeah.
We don't have a choice. So we like with everything, we make it work. So could it potentially add problems? Absolutely.
Okay, that's what I just, it's
You know, will that, if we've got to bring people in, now we're paying them holiday pay. We may not be able to bring in everybody that we need. They may not be available, everybody that we need. So there would definitely be some staffing issues that would have to be considered.
yeah.
I mean,
And I think the same would apply too for a Sunday. That would be one of the challenges.
Yeah.
We can get,
Well,
normally
that's what I
we
was
get-
asking for about the Sunday.
Okay.
Just
Oh,
to be
yeah.
clear, I was asking more around the idea of the Sunday, and then
would you need
having
the
the
Saturday
Saturday
to-
as the blackout day. Do
Oh.
you see any specific issues rising to not have the whole Saturday? Do
I
you-
think Dr.
Right.
Champ's reacting to the fact that the Friday will be
No
off
school.
from school
Right.
because
Right.
it's the day it's observed
Yes.
federally, so then it's like,
Right,
So you
Yeah.
almost lose two.
right,
You
right.
almost lose
But-
2 days.
Yeah, if we were to do it on Saturday, we would already be losing Friday. If we do it on Sunday, we'd lose Friday and Saturday.
And Saturday.
Both are going to present the same kinds of
see.
problems.
That's what I'm. Yeah.
And
okay,
they'd predominantly be staffing problems.
But
Okay.
one of,
Yeah.
the idea about Sunday is not necessarily, I think, the day, but more like, sorry, it's not necessarily the actual day, but can we think about it maybe on a Friday night, maybe a Thursday, evening 5 o'clock event? And people could be afterwards at 7. I don't, just
We
throwing
can.
ideas.
And I
So-
laugh because I know that we've tried, and Jim, I think if anyone would remember, we tried several years ago to make some changes to graduation time, location, day, because we had some,
There's a
some
lot of
health issues we were
traditions.
trying to navigate. We'll just say tradition was very, very deep.
Understood.
Very deep. And I know, the community, I think there's been a tradition the last couple of years that have developed into a block party after graduation to celebrate all the kids together. Moving to, everything's got a ramification. So I don't think anything's off the table. And I think these are all valid ideas for us to be thinking about. And it is really early. We've got plenty of time to figure this out. But yeah, any change is going to result in some kind of ramification. So that's it. We just have to weigh them out.
on the contingency planning around starting earlier in the fall, are there constraints around preseason for fall sports? Like, because you'd have to push that back earlier
Actually,
also. and-
I
Because you
don't
have to
think
start
so
a week.
because the section determines the start dates for seasons. So I don't think it would impact that.
I mean, if we followed Catherine's idea of starting the week before.
Yeah, no, same thing.
then you'd
I don't
have
think it would impact.
Okay.
Okay.
They would allow you to start that early, like 2 weeks before Labor Day.
I think the fall season usually starts, I want to say around August 15th-ish
Okay.
anyways,
Okay.
15th, 19th.
Got it.
I don't know exactly what the date is, but yeah, I think it would
usually
still
that week.
fit.
Okay.
Would still work. And I think too, this year, because you've got districts starting at a lot of different times, I think they'll work it out. Yeah. All right.
Good discussion.
Okay. So, yeah, I know if folks are
The
interested.
first of many.
Yes. All right. That's it for my report tonight.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have our student board member reports. Who'd like to go first?
I can start.
Great.
So first for the seniors, this week planning for the Senior Talent Show is currently underway. Preparations are beginning for this annual PMS tradition. The Senior Talent Show provides members of the senior class with an opportunity to express their creativity and showcase a variety of talents, including music, dance, and comedy. This event plays an important role in fostering school spirit and bringing the PMHS community together. Participation is open to all seniors interested in performing. However, talent show submissions are due by the 23rd. And this Friday is the final opportunity for seniors to have their portraits taken. Portraits are taken all day throughout the room in 105E, and these photos are featured in the yearbook and are an important requirement for graduating seniors. Students also tend to use these portraits for college-related purposes, including announcements when they commit to a college or university, which has begun to happen within the last 2 months.
Nice. Thank you.
So I know we already. Is that close? Okay. So I know we already talked about midterms, but they are coming up, which is a stressful time, but it's also a good checkpoint for how the year is going. They give students a chance to see what is working and where they may need to adjust before finals. It's especially important for freshmen since it's their first major high school exam and a good introduction to what finals will be like. We just returned from break, and many juniors received their SAT and ACT scores. It's an important moment because it helps students understand where they stand and what steps they may want to take next before the February ACT and March SAT. This Friday, Battle of the Bands is coming up, and it is a great opportunity for students to share their music in a supportive environment. Thank you to Ms. Rice and Ms. Marisek for organizing the event and helping to run it, to the student government for the volunteers who are helping to run it also, and the bands for participating. The high school is also hosting an 8th grade information night tomorrow to help prepare students and families for the transition to freshman year. It gives incoming students a chance to learn about expectations and activities and helps to make the transition feel less overwhelming. And finally, there's compliance with the cell phone policy, and it continues to go well. The students are following the rules, and there's been no noticeable frustration or pushback still, which I think is great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, exciting times at high school. Okay.
Thank you.
Can I ask
Thank
a question?
Yes.
What, to you both, Nick, and you, Emerson, in regards to the cell phone policy and just thank you for continuing to keep us updated with, like, boots on the ground, kind of what's happening. What are the students like saying? It's nice to hear that it's going well and everyone's complying and it seems to not be, an issue for them. But what are the students saying about it? Are they happy, or do they miss their phones? Like, what's?
I don't think it's impacting them because, even last year we weren't allowed to have them in class, while we were learning. Yeah, we could have them in the hallway, so that's a big difference. But I don't think they mind being able to talk to their friends, because last year was a major difference. Their necks would be arched over looking at their phone, but now there's a lot more going on in the hallways as you walk from class to class. You're saying hi to more people, and you still get to you're allowed to have it during lunch, which I think is good. Like when you leave campus, because that's also important for Apple Pay and stuff. So I don't think it's actually detriment. I don't know. I think it's going well. People haven't really complained about it. In the beginning, it was a little bit of a change, so obviously there's going to be that's annoying, but I think everyone got used to it, and it's kind of just normal now.
That's great. Nick, what do you?
Yeah,
you're a
I
senior,
agree.
so.
I agree with what Emerson said, especially about in the hallways. Like last year and the years before, everyone was kind of like a zombie with their head in their phone, but now it's more of a natural communication with just passing in the hallway. It feels like a school instead of just a place to be from 8 to 2:51.
Right. That's lovely. Yeah. What a really nice sense of community that this has created in the hallways. Who knows? Maybe people will learn how to fold notes and pass notes again. That'll be a new thing that teachers will have to figure out. It was an art. It's an art to pass the notes. Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay.
Thank you. Okay, next we have Board of Education Committee reports. Trying to remember back before the break. I think we went through all of the committee meetings at our last board meeting. We might have had a safety committee meeting. Will you go over? Do you want to go over that? I wasn't at it. Will was, so I don't know.
I was there. I cannot, for the life of remember.
Yeah.
For the life of
I'm going to let Will off the hook
only had
for this
something
one.
small
Happened since then. We had policy committee, but we'll talk about policy.
Oh, yeah, we'll talk about policy later, and maybe, Jim, you can mention safety committee in your update. Okay. Next, we have Assistant Superintendent's update on personal growth and achievement.
So I read somewhere recently that the last day to wish someone a happy new year was a few days ago. But since this is the first time we're seeing each other, I wish you all a happy new year.
Wait,
It's
there's
nice to
rules
see
around
you.
that? You can't wear white after Labor Day type rules? You can't wish people Happy New Year on day
Except
7?
Larry David has very strong views on that.
Which one? The white after Labor Day?
No, on
Oh, yeah.
January.
The white after Labor Day that's become much more, people are lenient with that, but we're doubling down on the don't wish people Happy New Year after January 5th or something. So it'll be a whole new etiquette book we'll have to learn. It's great. But anyway, Happy New Year. We welcome students back on Monday. It's been wonderful to see the classrooms quickly return to the rhythm as the break fades into memory. As Dr. Champ mentioned, our whole district has been preparing, putting a great deal of energy and focus toward preparing for our upcoming Tri-State Consortium consultancy visit. As you know, central priority of our strategic plan and our district-wide focus for this year is systems of support for all learners, ensuring that we have strong, coherent systems in place to support every learner academically and also social emotionally. To advance this work, we're hosting a Tri-State Consortium consultancy visit focused on our multi-tiered system of support. In EduSpeak, that's always an acronym MTSS, but that's what it stands for, is our multi-tiered system of support. And it's just the systems that are in play to support students in the moment with what they need, and using the data that you need to know who needs what. And that visit will take place on January 28th, 29th, and 30th. Approximately 20 educators from the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut will come to our district, and they will review and analyze documents, and then they will also engage in focus groups with teachers, visit classrooms with students, with the Board of Education. I'll send you a calendar invite soon. And they will engage in a process focused on collaborative inquiry and continuous improvement. The visit builds on several years of intentional work to strengthen and systemize our support framework so that students receive the right academic and social emotional supports in the right time. Our approach in Pelham is closely aligned with the guidance from New York State that reflects committed use to using data, reflection, and feedback to continuously improve practice. This consultancy provides an important opportunity for the district to pause, to reflect, and to learn, and that team of external educators will examine our systems and practices across the district, and it will help us assess our coherence, our consistency, and impact of our work. The feedback will inform our ongoing improvement efforts and help guide the next steps in strengthening our multi-tiered system of supports across the district. Thank you so much to our administrative team, to our teachers throughout the district who've been working hard. John Sabalas and Alicia have built an amazing website that's going to integrate AI to help the team navigate through the hundreds and hundreds of documents that we've uploaded for the team to peruse. And our curriculum team, Dr. Short and Callahan, have been partnering with me to prepare, but then our building principals have been leading their work in their own building. So it's really a full organizational effort. Thanks to Jim in the business office, he's helping with the security issues and the badges and swag, and it's a big, interesting, wonderful opportunity for all of us. And we learn as much from the team as they learn from us. So we're looking forward to it.
So I just have a comment on this. It sounds like you're well prepared. When is the meeting again? When are they coming?
January 28th, 29th, and 30th.
Okay. And then one of the things I just thought of is that it is one of the indicators of a high-performing school district to be involved in like a consortium like this and to get like peer feedback on things.
Yeah.
So thank you for doing that.
And the great news is New York State has recently updated their guidance on MTSS. And so all districts in New York State are in a relatively similar spot, right? You may recognize RTI, right, Response to Intervention, which was the former acronym for this in a less systematized way. And so all districts in New York State are at a varying degree of revisiting and refocusing and restructuring this entire system. So that's the nice part is Tracy and I, she's going to talk about her work with this, but we're engaged in many different collegial circles where we're really all in the same place. So we're inviting our team in not to say, look how amazing we are. I think they're going to be impressed, but also to say, what do you think, and what would you advise our next steps to be, and how are we doing? So critical friends, and also having the opportunity to engage and learn from one another.
Okay, thank you.
Great transition.
Yes. Next is Assistant Superintendent's update on belonging and wellness.
I will say Happy New Year because
Yes.
the Google says you can do so until January 7th, and if you celebrate Orthodox New Year, you have till the 14th. So we're all good. Happy New Year, everybody. So to build on Claire's report, and also, which is also in alignment with our strategic plan, this was an optimal time for this to be our, to do our tri-state visit, and our essential question to be focused around MTSS. Claire and I actually were on a visit last year, an MTS visit in Pearl River. So these consortium visits and consultancies are excellent ways for districts to learn from one another, grow, not make the same mistakes, steal some good ideas. So it's really exciting to have been on a consultancy and then to be a part of a consultancy. So to that end, and looking at our journey as a district thus far with MTSS, we started, we're still kind of at the ground level. Our academic portion of our plan has been built out, and we still continue to look at that and get feedback and reflect on where we are. But what we hadn't done and where we started this year is the SEL portion of our MTSS plan. So I have shared that we did start the K-12 MTSS SEL committee this year. We've met several times. We're meeting again next week. And the primary goal of the committee was to really review Tier 1 programs that align to the CASEL framework, which is the framework that New York State uses and that we've adopted as well as the lens for which we want to look at the core competencies for social emotional learning. Also simultaneously look at and identify screener that we can use that aligns to the competencies. So academics, it's kind of easy. We've already had those built in. We've got EamesWeb, Forefront, iExcel. We've got things in place to give snapshots of where we are with our students in terms of their learning in reading, writing, and math. What does that look like on the social emotional side? So that's the work of this committee as well. And then finally, once we've done that, the idea then is to build out the rest of the MTSS district-wide plan with almost chapter 2, which has the SEL portion. So that's the goal work of the committee this year. We have reviewed several platforms. We think we've narrowed it down to a platform that we want to go with. So we are being very thoughtful and careful about how we introduce that. We'll be talking about it with the administrators next week and admin cabinet. We have the vendor coming in to talk about it in depth. And then there are various steps that we have to take in-house. It goes to BGA. It would go to other mandated committees that we have to run curriculum through. So we're really excited about the work. We're happy that it's finally moving and we're rolling along. So it's an exciting time. And all of that work will be part of the artifacts that are submitted to Tri-States to look at and give us feedback on. So really exciting time. Another exciting time, we are getting ready for annual review season, always fun. We're about the midpoint of the year, so as we start to sort of initiate this, 2026 annual review cycle, there's a lot of planning that goes into that. And, I recognize the significant effort and meticulous planning that is required for these meetings. We're gonna have between 600 and 700 meetings at this point now to schedule, so I have to thank in advance the PPS office staff. They're the, boots on the ground, opening drafts, organizing meeting packets, collecting data, getting information and links ready for parents, as well as, the special ed teachers, the gen ed teachers, the case managers, the related service providers, all of the people, that are the active members of the CSE. And I just have to express my thanks for their continued dedication and the time and effort that goes into being members of these meetings. The annual review process, again, it's a vital collaborative process, and the objective is to create a comprehensive document that accurately reflects students' needs, where they are currently, where we want to see them go, and how we're going to get them there. So thank you for everyone who's involved in that. And then just to close up, the counseling department also started before the break, the first in their series in collaboration with Civics on career workshops. So the first career workshop on December 12th was around journalism. They had panelists from NBC News, an editor-in-chief from Wirecutter. They always get great people. I'm in awe in how they get the panelists. Moving forward, they are also going to have, I think this month's going to be focused on careers in finance. February will be careers focused around AI. April will be forensics. In June, it will culminate in a trade fair. So they have an exciting lineup for this year. As Emerson mentioned, tomorrow night is our 8th grade transition night. So it'll give our 8th grade students and families a glimpse into what it's like to be a high schooler. And it's always fun to have the high school panelists come and talk about their experiences and the glows and grows of what it's like to be a freshman. And then just as a preview coming up, next month in February, we have grade 10 college night. And we also have something new that we started last year, which was disability services in higher education. So what it's like for our students with IEPs and 504s transitioning to college. It's a busy time, but fun time, exciting time, and looking forward to all that's coming ahead.
Thank you. Next, we have Executive Director's update on human resources and leadership.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back. So Dr. Champ did steal most of my thunder for tonight, but no. So in all fairness, we are gearing up for the Siwanoy principal search. So we did post for that position on January 5th. It will close on January 21st. The goal really is to get out of the gate early in the season to attract the best candidate for this leadership position. I think we learned a lot last year, and we did a lot of the heavy lifting last year too when we did the search early in the summer. So one of the things that the stakeholders and the community put together was a leadership profile. So that leadership profile is the profile we will continue to use again for this search to compare our candidates against. You know, I just checked OLAS to see how many applicants have already applied. We do have 27 applicants. It's only been a few days. Now, that just means they've applied. I haven't reviewed them. We don't know who they are, anything like that. But I do think it's telling in that this is the time of year that people are starting to look and making decisions for their positions for next year. So I am very hopeful that we'll have a wonderful pool of candidates. There also will be communication going out to the community and to the stakeholders in terms of how they will be participating in the process. So right now I'm trying to just secure when those dates will be and the space we will have, and then once I have that solidified, I will reach out to the different stakeholders to have people participate into the different committees. We do have a pretty robust hiring process here in Pelham. It does start with initial screening. So all of the candidates that will go through will be screened by myself and some of the other cabinet members. Then we will have those select candidates meet with our stakeholder committee groups. We will have a group of parents, we will have a group of teachers, we will have a group of administrators that will meet with each candidate. Then we debrief after all of that and then move our top candidates forward. They will do a demonstration task with staff, and then there's an interactive piece with students so that we're gathering feedback really from every type of group that would come in contact with our new leader. And then finally, we would bring the top candidates to the superintendent and finally the board. So it is quite a lengthy process, but it tells us a lot. And what is really nice about having all the different stakeholder voices there is the different perspectives that people pick up on during the interview process, which is really helpful. Because this is a big position, it's an important position. We are really thankful to Mrs. Kramer-Gilbert for taking over for the year, and I know she's been thrilled to be back. The staff has been thrilled to have her, and the kids have been happy, and the families are happy. And that's when you walk into a school and you feel that. That's what elementary school is supposed to feel like. So we're keeping that in our mind as we are searching for our next elementary principal of Siwanoy.
Thank you. Next, we have Assistant Superintendent's update on facilities and sustainable learning environments.
Hi, thank you. Good evening and Happy New Year. Just some quick updates. Again, we did have some committee meetings on that week of the last board meeting in December. So that week we had meetings the 9th, 10th, and the 11th. So we talked about the first two meetings on the 9th and 10th. That was the Finance and Bond Steering Committee. The 11th, the morning after the board meeting, we met at the Safety Committee at Hutchinson School. So at that meeting, it was a good check-in with our group. We had an update on our district-wide safety drills. By state law, we have to meet a certain minimum number of drills for every building for the first half of this school year, the calendar year. So we were very we're very happy to say that we completed all of that. We talked to our committee about the new addendum to the district-wide safety plan. We've shared that with the board related to cardiac emergencies, and we shared the cardiac awareness video that we've passed out to our staff so that they can also monitor that and watch that video. We had monitor staffing. We had first aid staffing and first aid training and stop the bleed training with our monitor staff in late November. We updated them about that. Our annual threat assessment refresher training with our consultant from Alteris, Jay Stewart. And we also had a tabletop, we updated the committee on a tabletop exercise with our science team related to the accident that happened in Hastings. Kind of revisited what happened there. Our science team and our science group was really terrific. Meeting after school one day and kind of going through those steps and having people think about their responses, how they would handle things. Really gives everyone an opportunity to think about not only how you'd respond to it, but how you would set up your station really in the first place to try to find yourself in the best, most defensive position so that people don't get injured. So again, really great information. And then in December, right around that same time, we did have some recent statewide bomb threat hoaxes. And fortunately, obviously, they were all hoaxes. These things do happen. But when they do happen and working with our consultant, we've got a really great opportunity to get that information early and get it out to folks so that if we do have it, we know how to react to it, and it's to least disruption to our students and staff in our community. On tonight's agenda, we've just got a couple of things here. We have the November Treasurer's Report. As you look at that, just something that's interesting to see, our overnight interest rate deposit rates keep dropping. We were at 3.84% in November. Last night, we were 3.6% after the latest Fed drop in December of 25 basis points. So we've really seen that. We were up near 5 at one point in time, and we've seen it gradually go down. So we're still ahead of plan right now. But again, we're watching it follow along that trend that we had anticipated. We've got some transfers related to occupational therapy, physical therapy, and student services, along with student transportation, and some transfers related to FEMLA and continuing education. We're updating our federal mileage grant at 72.5 cents a mile. I seem to remember when it was like 26 cents. I'm probably just old. But so that's going to be 72.5 cents. Madam President, you mentioned the outdoor classroom grant and the grant disbursement agreement from the state, so that's wonderful news. The $150,000 grant, with the board's authorization, the superintendent can enter into that grant disbursement agreement. Then our attorneys for the district has to do some work as well. We'll get the formal information. We still need permitting for that particular project, and we're going to meet with the folks rounding up that project. We reached out to them today. Let's schedule a meeting and see how we can get this timing moved for the project. So it's exciting. This evening, we've got an agreement with Sarah Lawrence for the pool for the boys swim team. We do this every season, but we just finished one up for the girls season, so we're doing the boys. And a wonderful donation from New York Life for $1,000. Construction projects, Dr. Champ did touch on just about everything. Quite a surprise with our folks from the drilling team showing up on Monday morning. They didn't get on the property. I know, Madam President, you received a phone call as well. We all received phone calls. And again, I was at the property, and a community member who was at one of the Siwanoy events stopped and asked me what was going on. I shared exactly what we've heard today. We didn't know they were coming. We're going to send them home.
Yeah.
So again, we want to make sure we follow through on what we shared with people. We reiterated that with our vendors. They're very much aware of that. They're aware of the phone calls that we've all received and the expectations that we have moving forward. So that's what we're going to do, and we're going to remind them of that. And again, this was an easy learn because we caught it early and we sent them home. So as far as these things go, this was an easy one.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, it's an opportunity to refresh everybody and really put everybody in the right mindset.
So the drilling is for like geotechnical testing?
Exactly. They're going to drill about 10 holes.
Yeah, and will they do that during the school day?
They could have. They've done it at schools during school days.
Okay.
We're not going to have
We're
them do
gonna
it during
try
the,
them-
we're going to
try
try to
to
schedule
not
it
have them do that
during the
during school.
February time when
Makes
school's
sense.
not in session.
Yeah.
So with that, we're going to work with Alex, and Alex Wolf is obviously going to send out a district communication so that our folks know what's happening and when it's happening.
Yeah, wonderful.
And we did have a good meeting with Village of Pelham Manor, their professional engineering staff, our consultant engineers, kind of everybody. Again, as we shared in the message, we all work for the same people.
Yes.
And whether it's out of left pocket or right pocket, the funds come out of the same pair of pants. And we have an obligation and a responsibility to make it work for everybody. And everybody's really pointed in the right direction and really focused on doing that. So I think it was a great meeting, and it's just an opportunity for everybody to get eyes on one another, and that just helps that communication right off the bat.
That was with the village manager?
Yes,
Yeah,
and their consultant engineers as well. And then it was KG&D and LA Group who was doing the civil work for the district.
Okay.
So it was a nice group. I think we met about a half hour, 45 minutes. It was a good meeting.
Great. Okay. Thanks, Jim. Next is communications and comments from the public. You're just observing, right? Okay. Welcome. Okay, we can move to section 5. Do I have a motion to take 5.1 through 5.5 as a consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, are there any comments or questions on this? Jim went through the treasurer's report and the mileage and the grants for Prospect Hill Outdoor Classroom.
Yeah.
The last meeting,
Yeah.
now from DASNY, and now we've got this
Yeah.
one. So we're waiting on the last one with Friends of Pelham Sports.
Given that the funds have come through for that, the outdoor classroom, and we're doing hopefully construction starting in the summer, hopefully the outdoor classroom could soon follow after the construction is done.
Absolutely. The worst thing we want is to delay it or have things that have already been completed disrupted. So part of that work, I believe, is going to be removing the oil tank, which is kind of in that general area. So it's part of that coordination to make sure we're not stepping on one another.
Or on those bricks. People bought a lot of bricks.
There's a lot of bricks. We got to keep them. I agree.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed, so those motions all carry. So we can move to 5.6. Do I have a motion to accept a donation?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, as Jim mentioned, this is from New York Life, and I'll read it. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Pelham Union Free School District does hereby accept a grant in the amount of $1,000 to be used for grief counseling training at the Pelham Middle School, and that gratitude be bestowed upon its donor, the New York Life Foundation. So many thanks to the New York Life Foundation for such an important training for the middle school. Okay. All in favor?
And also for the high school.
Oh, and for
That's
the high
second
school.
one for the
Oh,
high
I didn't
school.
read it, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I won't read it again, but there's an additional $1,000 to be used for grief counseling training at the high school as well. Thank you, Sid.
Yep.
And thank you to the New York Life Foundation. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
None opposed, so thanks again for that donation. Next, we can move to section 6, which is the policy section. I think I'll hand it over to you, Sid. Maybe you want to just talk about the first reading, the ones for first reading first?
Yeah, sure. As Dr. Champ and Tracy mentioned, we focused on special ed policies this past month. Thank you to Tracy and her team for bearing the brunt and getting this off her plate before the yeah,
Exactly.
the whirlwind, as I was thinking. And as Dr. Champ said, I think most of the changes to policies, again, they're following either changes in law or regulation, as we talked about with the right to free, appropriate public education through, until your 22nd birthday. Some changes in the diploma paths, and other updates really based on changes in law or practice since 2012 or
2012.
before, when
Yeah.
some of these policies were put in place, and some models from Erie One BOCES, which we work with, our policy service for this. So in some cases, it was just sort of modernizing languages. I don't think that there's any real significant changes for, student experience or parent rights in these policies. They're really more updates to conform to law.
Yeah, and I know the board has the red line versions to see for comparison. Because most of these are so old, they were not able to really give us red lines like we were used to. They basically gave us fresh templates. So when you see significant changes in those red line versions, it's because we weren't working from the old draft. It was basically delete the entire old draft and start fresh with a new update, a new template. So not the ideal, but this is the benefit, I think, of getting the policies reviewed and refreshed. So this is part of why we've been pushing so hard to get caught up.
And SEV, is that Suzanne Volpe?
Yes.
Okay. So she's our legal
Our
counsel.
policy wonk, yes.
Right.
She's amazing. She spends, I know, tremendous time with the cabinet and myself ahead of time planning so that when we come to meetings, and she works with Valerie on a tremendous amount of time so that we can be as efficient as possible.
I just have a question, maybe going back in time a little bit. I mean, one, I'm so glad we're doing this. Sounds like a lot of work and we're doing the right thing. How often, what is the practice to, again, continue, right? I cannot even imagine how many policies we actually have. So I'm just, what is that sort of roll
Cycle.
around? How?
Yeah. I think that's, we weren't really in any kind of cycle before.
Okay.
So we had fallen behind with a couple audits. We've got the policy service,
Yeah.
and what they can do is
Amen.
periodically we ask them to do an audit, and then they'll go through and say which of
Yeah.
our policies are up to date and which need updating based on updated laws, regulations, new issues. They also can tell us which are required, which are optional. So I think certainly last year, I think it's the second year, or is this the third? This is your second year?
This is the second year that
Second
I've
year.
been.
Yeah, especially having Sid's expertise has been really helpful. So we've been able to, it just kind of made it a priority. My hope is that once we get the bulk of the catalog updated, in perfect world, we would get on a cycle of this batch, we're going to review this batch, on a written out cycle. There are districts, well, I've only heard of one district, I've never actually experienced it, where they literally go through their catalog every year. I don't know how that's humanly possible in the hours with everything else that we do. So I think the goal is follow their recommendations on priority
Yep.
updates, because there's also new policies that come up along the way.
Yeah.
And also, there's times where we internally have a need to update or refresh or add a policy. So all that together, hopefully we get the audit complete, and then that positions us better for the next round of
The next
audit.
round. Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested to what they would say as far as just a best practice, right?
Yeah.
Once every three. I'd just be, just as far as how do we want to set it
Yeah.
up for the future to
Yeah.
saying this is now our policy?
Right,
Do you know,
our
to just,
practice of
again,
how to maintain.
do that. Yeah.
No, that's a great point. I think these last two audits have had about 85 policies total, which is just too much to do in a year. So we've kind of split them into multiple years. So
Don't put that on Sid, because he might do it.
I know.
I mean, when you're so good at something, you just sort of, that's
right.
To your
sure.
strength. To your strength.
It really, I show up at the meeting, but the team does all
Do
the
a lot of
prep
work,
work in
yes.
advance, the administrative team,
Yeah, we
so.
try to queue it up so that
Yes.
we'll spend a lot of time, especially with the ones that are very regulation rich, going through it, queue it up, so then the questions for the policy committee that really need to be considered, it's queued up for them, to go through. But I think what also has made this complicated and why there were a lot of special ed ones is because if you notice at the end of the board policies, they cross-reference other policies. So sometimes if you check the language here, you've got to make sure you check the language there. And that's sort of what Tricia and I are in the process of doing with Title IX and sexual harassment, because it feeds to other policies. So that's what also then expands this, because maybe Erie 1 says one, but then when you get into the weeds and, wait,
Leads
we've got
to
to
another,
cross-reference this and
leads to
update
another.
that language.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and the policies that we're updating, I mean, this is in accordance with the law, so we're not adding or deviating from the law, the state law, also tied into federal law, and it's part of the law for school districts are required to have policies related to these things, but state law will always trump a school board policy, and we are writing these policies in line with what the law requires, and so not that there's anything like sneaky going in there, right? But it's just being sure that, I know that Tracy's very thorough, and that we, with so many changes, just making sure that the time is taken for the board, members of the board, and then also our community to like spend to read all of the changes to understand what it is. Because maybe they're probably not reading the NICEAD statutes.
No, probably not.
So this might be the only thing that they're reading.
Yeah, and it's a good cross-check for us, too, to make sure that we've got all the procedures in place to then support and fully implement the policies, so it's been good in that regard. What we discovered, we don't have many regulations, because in large part, our policies are pretty specific and thorough. So it's not a requirement necessarily. Some policies will specify a regulation, but we've been, predominantly ours are well, the contents are captured within the policy itself. Okay, so those are our first reads.
Yeah. And Sid, do we want to
And
spend
then-
a few minutes on the next one?
Yeah, so I saw, so for the second reading items, we made some changes to the policy
wait, I don't-
around
1510.
board meetings.
Are we moving past these? We didn't.
We don't, like, vote on the.
No, I know. I'm
first
just saying,
reading
like,
ones.
we
If
can.
anyone had anything they want to talk about,
I
we
kind of,
certainly
I
could.
think what I do want to spend another minute, just, is there anything in these 6 policies, I mean, maybe Tracy would be best to answer this, but that is notable to pay attention to, or that stands out as a change? I mean, I know, Dr. Champ, you said that the diploma one is a completely new, completely rewritten. Is that the case for all of these policies? Like the least restrictive environment policy, is that a completely new policy as well?
I mean, honestly, when we got the updates from Erie 1, 2, a lot of the bulk of the content we had in our current policy, they just reworded it a bit and kind of took out things that weren't relevant. Took out things that maybe weren't relevant. We kept things that we felt were relevant and provided clarity to parents and the community, especially around like the diploma options. So I don't think there's anything significant as Mr. Burke mentioned, that is a deviation or change that it would be different in practice that parents would experience at all.
I think the only thing that comes to my mind that I know we had some extensive conversation around was this whole census and the child find policy. So one of the things that I haven't told Alex this yet, but he'll find out when he watches the meeting. We have an obligation on an annual basis to basically we have our CPSE process, which is great, and that captures, I'm sure, 99.9% of students with special needs. But what we talked about is adding like a QR code to like our budget focus or one of our focuses every year, just to say if you think you have a child with a disability, click this code and notify the district of it, so that we can kind of as a more proactive child find outreach. And we thought we've already got a print. We don't have the names and addresses of every family in the community, but we have the bulk addresses to send the focus to every home in the community. So we thought that's something we're already doing. Let's just add a little section so that we can more proactively honor that requirement in the policy.
Is
We'll
that
see what comes from that.
practice that is done other places, or would
Oh,
this be something creative?
We had a
that
hard time
we're starting?
finding. We had a very hard time finding other
Yeah.
districts that
We
really.
asked. People do things in a very different way.
Yeah.
And one thing that I think I'm very proud of the work that we do on the policy committee, I mean, we are nerdy rule followers. So, you know, we're following things to the letter. We're doing what we're supposed to do. So I'm proud of that, and, you know, that, you know, other districts are like, yeah, no, we don't do that. And I'm like, you don't? It's law. How are you not doing that? You know, so, but yeah, the very, very different types of responses. But I think just because we heard other people do it, we came back and we're like, we've got to figure out a way that we're capturing this and kind of canvassing everyone. And I think Dr. Chambers is the one that came up with the idea of using the Pelham Focus, because everyone in the community gets that mailing. So it was a way for us to do census. I think other districts like have like people they hire to do like similar census mailings, but people were kind of all over the board, and some people like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, child sign, you know that, right? Yeah. So, but yeah, so kind of all over the board. But I think part of reviewing these policies makes us reflect on our practices and are we doing what we're supposed to be doing? And if we're not, okay, what's our plan to shift, correct, and make sure that we are? So,
Yeah,
it's
great.
good work.
Well, and I think it's important, so thanks for saying that the changes and updates made to these policies won't impact a student's and family's day-to-day experience in the district. I think that's a really important note to have said, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, sorry, we can move on.
So, yeah, so this is the first reading of those policies, so there's time, right, to read the
Yes.
policy, ask questions,
Yeah,
if
get any feedback that you've
and
got
get
for next
feedback.
time.
Yeah.
1510, was that the one I think you wanted to?
Yeah, talk a little more about Sid.
Yeah, so the policy that we brought to the board at the last meeting regarding sort of the way that board meetings will be handled, and in particular the public comment for them, we had a good discussion last month about that, and Suzanne went back and made some changes based on the input that we had to sort of take out some of the more specific time limits and reference sort of an expectation that speakers would talk for approximately 3 minutes and some other conforming changes like that. So I think that's the main update there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we seemed to think, it seemed to, I think the adjustments that were made, so we appreciated the feedback from board members and the committee, I think it seems to better fit the philosophy of the current board in, wanting there to be guardrails and streamline and focus, yet have the freedom to engage actively with the community.
I agree.
As my co-pilot told me today, I was being too rough. I needed to tone down some of the things I was writing. So I like this because it's like we're just being a little bit friendlier in our language.
Yeah.
You know, we're still kind of in the same venue of like 3 minutes, but we're just using nicer language. So I don't know if co-pilot told you, but he certainly told me I should reuse some of my language to make it nicer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
The
mean, I
the
think it
lawyer
hits
in
the
me
right-
would like to have something more specific, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I think it hits the right balance of,
Yeah.
we need to have some guardrails and the ability to manage comment if you need to. Like if there's a lot of people here for
Right.
comment, we have to manage the time and so.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's like you want it to be productive, right? It's like I think that's the ultimate goal. It's like you want to hear and listen and make it be productive, so it's useful for everybody. And so I think, I like some of the changes and the idea behind it.
Yeah, I mean, I think on this, I think the changes are good. I think that as long as public comment, I think it's good to have guardrails, and it's good to kind of make explicit some of the norms and expectations of how people communicate, and all that's kind of in here, and that's helpful. I do think that, and maybe that's captured in here, that ultimately a lot of this should be at the board president's discretion to kind of manage the conversation in real time in a way that is kind of productive. And I mean, really the only thing sort of left in here that I kind of slightly raise an eyebrow at is when it says that there are kind of 2 periods of comment, of public comment. And in the first period of public comment, speakers may comment on items on the meeting's agenda. In the second period of time for public comment, speakers may comment on matters pertaining to the district, but not on the meeting's agenda. That feels a little bit restrictive. I think, saying you can there are 2 slots for public comment, and you're only allowed to use these for certain things. I don't know how I feel about that. That feels a little bit restrictive. Other than that, I think as long as the board president has some discretion over managing kind of how the public comment is unfolding, I think I'm okay with this.
So I
So
would say,
will-
Will, in practice, I mean, that's how we have the comments, the public comments set up, like 5.1 right now says for agenda items, and then there'll be one later that's for anything, right? For for anything. And I guess I have not seen in practice it cause any
Problems.
Yeah, cause
But I
any
think
problems.
you've used the latitude, and I think this is maybe.
Oh,
a
yeah,
little bit
to
gets
even
it-
pull up
to-
comment.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly,
let
and you've
people
opened it
talk
up.
about whatever, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, whichever one.
So I think, I'm wondering, is it kind of to Will's point, is it worth just adding a line of,
Oh, that we can
the president
modify
has, the
this.
president has the discretion to amend the,
Sure.
to adjust as the situation.
As I please.
As she sees fit.
Yeah, yeah.
I think Sid
Well,
can come up with the
the-
appropriate
He or
way to
she.
say
Yeah, I mean, the policy doesn't say when those periods are going to be, so they could be
I could combine
right next to
them.
each other. They could
We
be.
could- yeah, we
It doesn't
could
say
combine
when in
them,
the
yeah.
agenda they're going to be.
Yeah, I know, Will, you're just pointing out that it could be viewed as somewhat restrictive. I just haven't seen it be restrictive.
I agree. No, I completely agree that in practice it hasn't been restrictive, and in practice, public comment I think has functioned really well. But I mean, this
Because
is
the fact that we even have 2, you don't even need to have public comment.
I totally agree with that. But when something is kind of enshrined in policy,
Yeah.
when behavior is enshrined in policy, I don't want this to come off as too restrictive.
Mhm.
People kind of want to come and express themselves, and if the board president can have discretion over how that kind of plays out, then I'm
Yes.
fine with that. I do agree with you that in practice the way it has worked has been fine, and we're just kind of formalizing in writing. But if you're formalizing it, some people could. We don't want to come across as too autocratic. That's all.
Yeah, so I'm fine adding, if we want to add that however Sid and Suzanne think it's best to word it, but, okay. To just add that it can be,
Yeah, it can be adjusted,
Updated,
practice
yeah,
can be
adjusted.
adjusted at the discretion of the board president.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
I'm also wondering, just kind of hearing that now, and now rereading it with some
Mm-hmm.
distance from the committee, I'm at the top of the 3rd page. Is that where I am? Yeah. The first paragraph, during the second period of time for public comment, speakers may comment on matters pertaining to the district, but not the meeting's agenda. I
Yeah,
almost
just
wonder
take
to
out
take that
not.
ending, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe just may comment on any matters pertaining to the district.
Right.
yeah.
Period.
If it's
Yeah.
agenda related
Agenda
or
or
not, yeah.
That'd be
doesn't-
fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, let's do that.
I think
Just
that would
one
be very
thought
helpful.
on making sure that policy language is clear and maybe a little, like, thinking about your comments said about specificity. The benefit of being specific is that maybe, a policy is here, and I know that we are going to review these on a regular basis and put them in a cycle, and that, how do I want to say this? Like, the reason why it's very good to have policy language, like language and policies, be more specific is that at some point in time, maybe there'll be another group of people at this table, and the spirit and intention of in which the policy was created may not remain, right, if the group of people transitions. And so there's safeguards and safety rails, using those.
There most certainly will someday be other people.
Right. So we want to make sure that the intent.
Yeah.
Jackie, president for life.
I was thinking about that too. Like in anything that we do, it's sort of like, okay, take Jackie or reasonable. Like just assume a different style in a different way. Like what are those? Like what
and
are
I
the
know that's
specifics?
part of
and
the
it just
board's
helps.
iterations. With every board iteration comes, different types of like policy concepts or language or feelings and beliefs, and so that informs the policies and the way policies are updated. And so, like 10 years from now, this same policy won't be this. The language in here, it won't look like this.
Yeah.
But when we're thinking about policy, the other reason to use specific language is because anyone and everyone can read it, and we want to make sure that it's very clear so that when people are reading it and then trying to follow it, that the specific language used is clear and concise so that there's no misunderstandings or misinterpretations. Now, I guess, Jackie, that would be on you as president to control and make sure that
Yeah, or whoever's president.
Right.
And that consistency.
Now it would be you.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm in disagreement with the making it less clear or using the language or, I understand the
you
intent.
need to be able to lean on the policy to
Yeah. Right.
support.
Right.
Yes,
support
and people
things,
need
yeah.
to see that
Yeah.
consistency, and it's not like this one
Yeah.
is this way or this person can
Right.
speak out this way, and it
Right.
just
To be
changes. So I think
consistent, yeah.
there's-
Okay. So why don't we can review it one more time at our next policy meeting,
Yeah.
bring it back for third reading, and
Yeah, so we're not.
Just the little
we were not
tweaks that we're
acting on
talking
it.
about.
We're waiving the third one, so
right.
we have time
Okay.
again to
We'll
revise
try to
it and.
thread the needle there
Yes.
between specific and general.
Exactly.
Because it's threading a needle.
It is. But no, it's a good point. Very good point.
I do like it when these red lines are not red, though. The green is nice.
Okay. I'd say for the
Okay, thank you.
remainders, we didn't have any feedback or changes to recommend.
Yeah, I don't feel strongly about whether we want to just hold them all over and approve them all together.
That'd be
I don't
fine.
think there's anything time sensitive for any of the others.
No.
Okay, so
Not
you're
at all.
saying don't.
We could just do
Don't-
them as a
don't waive
batch the
third,
next,
Just,
yeah.
yeah, do them all
That's
next time.
fine.
Okay. Except that we won't
Oh.
be able to put any more on the,
That's okay.
on the board. That's okay.
We'll catch up. Next, it's only a couple weeks away. We can.
I know. It's just the beginning of the year.
Strength, though, I don't know.
Yeah.
Feel comfortable over here. You can't just do it.
Okay, thank you. We can move to section 7. Have a good evening. Do I have a motion to take 7.1 through 8.1? We could do that, right? As a consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Do you have any?
Just come with some standard FMLA.
Yep.
Stipends for various things like our senior high class talent show, co-team leaders, hockey program, etc. Student teachers, interns, observers, and more leaves of absences. So that's great. Dr. Fitzgerald's office continues to process those on a regular basis, and the appointment of a new school monitor.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
None opposed, so those are all approved. Does anyone have new business?
Do you want me to give a quick January update
Yes.
on advocacy? Because I know I sent you all an email today. So we are,
Yes.
with the start of the new year comes advocacy season. The lawmakers are
It's
back.
always advocacy season.
I know, yeah. It is. It's always advocacy season. There is little p advocacy, big P advocacy, and just all types of advocacy. Tracy lives in that world, but it is legislative advocacy season. It runs all the time, really, but like the thick of it is now until until April. And so we are starting to get lots of emails about events and to participate in meetings with lawmakers at the federal level and the state level. So I sent around an email. This is board level advocacy, not community level advocacy, and there's a distinction. So our advocacy and engagement committee will be working on its own project at the community level, but at the board level, I did send around an email with just updates on events. So if anyone has any questions on those, I have registered myself for most of them. And so I'm happy to share my notes when those happen. But between the emails I've gotten so far are for now to the end of events to the end of February. So there's lots of opportunities to talk to our lawmakers about all of the issues on the table for public education right now, which there are many and important. So thank you in advance for reading that. And
Thank you for putting that together,
Yeah,
too.
thank you for
helps
putting it
to have
together. I haven't
someone
had a ch-
synthesize it and distill it down to that which is most important.
well, because they all come with different acronyms, and then you're like, wait, did I register for this
Right.
acronym today? Like, what is this that I did, and are they connected? Because everything is a little bit overlapping. Yeah. So.
Thank you.
Thank you for the update, Catherine. Any more new business? No? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Will, great
Thank you,
to see
everyone.
you.
Thanks for
Nice to
letting
see
me
you.
join
Nice to
remotely. I
see you,
appreciate it.
Will.